everybody, and welcome to 2020, a new decade in professional wrestling. And yes, we're back, and it still matters. Well, I'm just a simple man, and my name is Noah Foster. So once again, welcome to the return and the 2020 debut of 205 Live Matters. And this will be, of course, another special double feature, as we will discuss this week's and last week's episode of 205 Live, as it seems they are reshaping, once again, the Cruiserweight division. There's a few questions yet to be solved, and there seems to be some new storylines, rivalries, and partnerships developing. Of course, before we get all that, allow me to introduce you, of course, to my co-host. We are tag team partners in Cruiserweight Wrestling itself, it seems, for we are the Simple Holiday. He's a family man. He's a good-hearted man. He has a lot on his mind to give, both in wisdom, acknowledgement, and theories. And he's just a great person to talk wrestling with, especially if you're old school. I've learned a lot from this guy, because I'm just a young gun, folks. This is, of course, my good friend here and leader, I like to think, of our NWA Team IndyQ wing, Mr. Christopher Mace. Chris, how are you?
Oh, long work week, to say the least. I'm just ready to talk about some wrestling. Seems like we're doing a lot more double features nowadays because of our work schedules and how they coincide with each other now. But, hey, it's always good to talk about cruiserweight wrestling.
Yeah, tell me about it. I mean, I head back to college after next week, so it's going to be like, oh, Lord. And then the Team No DQ prediction is going to kick off with Royal Rumble. Then we have Worlds Collide for the NX team. And don't get me started on what's coming up with Team IndyQ, hence tomorrow. But I digress. But, hey, we do double features. We do singles. Maybe one time we'll just really challenge ourselves to see what we can do and put together a month of 205 Live. But I digress. As this series now is approaching its one-year anniversary, I believe, because I believe I started this on January 15th last year. So technically, the next episode will literally mark the one-year anniversary of this. So thank you to everybody who's joined me on this journey. And thank you, Chris, for everything you have done to evolve this brand with me and be part of it with me. And thank you to, again, everybody who's enjoyed, and I hope to continue bringing more in Cruiserweight Wrestling and further in the coming months and years as 205 Live continues. So with that being said, and yes, I am tired too, we're going to go ahead and talk about 2 episodes of 205 Live this week, and then give our thoughts on each. We're going to start with last week, which of course was the opening episode of the year for our 205 Live, and it emanated from Ford Center, and basically, botch, hello, it emanated from Memphis, Tennessee, with the announced team of Tom Phillips and Andy English. Looks like that hasn't changed. And they basically went on the card. The main event of that was going to be NXT rematch. Angel Garza, the new Cruiserweight champion, versus Tony Nese. But before all that, we, of course, got into our opening match with a newcomer versus the OG. And as we keep talking about 205 Live, between that episode and this week's episode, that seems to be the story going on within the 205 Live brand itself. The originals and the newcomers. And it was proven here as we had Danny Burch versus Arya Daivari. And basically he talks about, I basically built this brand myself, and yet we have an influx of new talent coming in. But I'm an original, and I'm going to do whatever I can to protect 205 Live and my wall because it makes me wealthy. And Raul Mendoza, I'm not done with you yet, because technically Raul Mendoza and Arya Daivari, they are 1-1. But tonight he faced Danny Burch, and I thought this was a pretty compelling opening match. Chris, what was your thoughts on this match?
I thought it was a pretty good showcase for Danny Burch. Like I said, I think he's improving each time he goes in there in the 205 Live stage. And he's performing better, a little bit better as a single wrestler. Like I said, he's majority been a tag team wrestler with Oni Lorcan. So for him being on a singles run and everything like that, it's been pretty hit and miss so far. He's had his moments where he's like, oh man, looks awesome. And he's had some of his moments like, well, he's going to have to, it's going to be a growing pain. Like I said, Mike Kanellis didn't start off very good at 205 Live, but he improved and got better in that division as he went. Oni Lorcan is getting better. This match was interesting. The thing I will remember the most about this match is what happened towards the end, where we had a special return of an individual we ain't seen in a while. But I'm going to let you get that when you go through the details of the match. But it was really shocking how they did that. But one of those things is I could clearly tell who that was clear as day, though. That mask did not hide him very well, because you can just look at him and see by the back of his hair and everything like that. You still see his hair coming out. You're like, oh, okay, well, I have an idea who this is. And It did cost not Lork, yeah, let's say
Botch.
Birch. I know Botch. I was talking about only Lorcan earlier, but it did cost Birch the match, and they gave Davari the win, which is a win he needs, because it seems like a lot of the OGs have been losing a lot as of late to all the newcomers that are coming in the 205 Live / NXT brand.
Exactly, as we continue to merge 205 Live under NXT. Yet it still takes place every week after SmackDown Live, sometimes to dead audiences, much to my disgust, but I digress. Anyway, yeah, we had a nice strong start here. Danny Burch, of course, controlling the beginning upset. He got a good few moves in, and then we got a good DDT by Davari. He gets crowd heat again, probably still the best heel on 205 Live. And they were in Memphis, so he took it another level, mocking Jerry the King Lawler, pretending he had strap and coming down with the fist, only for it to be countered. Then we get a sleeper counter into a suplex, and then Danny Burch, the governor, he brings in a lot of brawling, beautiful missile dropkick, wicked headbutt. What is with the UK scene and friggin' headbutts? Come on now. And at one point, we get cover for cover. No. Yank it to that crazy top rope yank. I still don't know what he names that movement to another cover. Then he goes for his Persian splash, ends up crashing. And then here we go as Danny Burch tries to set up his finisher. Here comes El Figador. Oops, sorry. I wrestle talk. Here comes Masked Fan that commentary put over. Okay, you're blind as a monkey if you didn't see the freaking blonde hair and knew that not was the man with a plan. As this distraction allowed Ari Davari to pick up the win with a dreaded low blow, one of the most dangerous moves of, I believe, 2018, and then a hammerlock lariat for the win. And then as they go for the replay and the commentary still plays to be stupid, it was revealed to be none other than the Brian Kendrick, who says, in case you don't know who I am a professional wrestler, and I do professional wrestling. And he reminds us, of course, that he started this brand and he is the closest thing to a cruiserweight. Now, the rest of you, do something! And he does something. Sliced breading, number 2, Danny Burch. And then Davari just looks on and smiles. So it looks like we have a strange alliance with a couple of OGs, per se. And it's all around the phrase, do something. What is this going to lead to, I wonder? I don't know, but I'm very curious. Anyway, following this, we get... Oh, freaking Lord. Really? Really?
Uh-oh.
Why? Just why? Why? I'm just going to say a couple of lines, and then I'm going to move on. Sing Bars recap. They talk about Child. They were in Madison Square Garden, and then Tom Phillips is having a crush, like a girl with a boy band. And then they're in a jobbers match, and then they have, like, the sing camera. Moving on.
Yeah, and that's all we have to say about that. Bolly. There you go.
Yeah, at least they were a 24/7 champion, my lord. Anyway, on this, though, we do get a little bit of a Twitter recap as we prepare for the main event, and it was a photo of Tony Nese, who, of course, exemplified how he achieved his biggest moment last year at WrestleMania, winning the Cruiserweight Championship. And then Garza comes in with a harsh rebuttal because Tony Nese, of course, is trying to get his Cruiserweight title back. Hence, we go into our main event. And the referee, by the way, was Jessica Carr. Congrats, by the way, on your promotion. And it was another NXT rematch. I believe now this is their third one-on-one encounter. And it was also the newly crowned NXT Cruiserweight Champion, 205 Live brand return. Chris, what was your thoughts on this match?
I thought it was a really good match, but I will tell you one thing, you're going to hear this later on too. If you're going to keep beating Tony Nese, you're going to start devaluing him. He's got to get some wins here. You can't keep having him lose. He's been losing a lot. What is the storyline build-up here? Are you going to have him just eventually snap? Please bring back Drew Gulak to 205 Live. Get him off SmackDown. Bring him back. Let them team up together again. I think that would help Tony Nese out a lot if he had his buddy Drew Gulak with him, at least storytelling-wise. Bring him back and let's do something. Because I feel like with all these OGs losing a lot of the times, I feel like it's going to be a build-up for a match somewhere, a 4-on-4 or 5-on-5 match later on the road. OGs versus the new breed of 205 Live / NXT stars, because Tony Nese has been losing a lot, and he's a lot better than that. Like I said, this match with Angel Garza, I didn't expect him to win, But however, I would have liked it a little bit more had he got the win, because at least that could have built up a storyline. He's already lost to him twice now. We already talked about so this is their third match. You've lost all 3 matches.
Yep.
Where are you going to validate him saying, I deserve a Cruiserweight Championship match? Storytelling-wise, how do you validate that when you're losing all the time?
Well,
the match itself is pretty damn good. Mm-hmm. Angel Garza is going to be a future big star, future world champion, in my feeling about it. And Tony Nese has that chance to do that too. But if you keep having him lose all the time, you're losing any credibility of a former Cruiserweight champion ever getting another title match when he loses all the time.
I completely agree. I mean, for those of you who don't know, who's watched the series for the first time, I usually like to do a little bit of play-by-play and some highlighting. But again, at the heart of it, we already know how incredible these athletes are. But we also look at the stories here. And right now, like I said, it looks like there is an internal war in this brand, as you put it. The OGs versus the new breed. This almost kind of gives me shades of the freaking new ECW. And that was, I remember that freaking match, and it got what? 5 minutes against the OGs versus the new breed that Vince McMahon endorsed back at WrestleMania 23.
Yep.
And of course, the new breed just fell apart and were never heard from again. Give me a break. Don't try and recreate that here. So help me if they try and do that at WrestleMania. But I digress. Anyway, this match I thought still was pretty good. We, of course, had all the fun moments. There's Angel Garza with that one-of-a-kind smile and his showboating. He asked, of course, Tony Nese to shake his hand. And then we get flexing with Tessa's strength. There's a bunch of speed exchanges here with some moonsaults, and then stop! Pants comes off. Not quite. He's like, no, we're not getting that. Penalty kick knee. Garza lands very awkwardly, I might add, and then Nese basically slows down the momentum of this match with a rest hold. This is, of course, when I feel like the Cruiserweights are at their lowest. And then Garza, of course, he tries to get out of it, only to eat a kick. There are 3 exchange rolls between the men, and then they're literally exchanging for each other, kick for a kick, kicking each other in the side of the head, taking each other down. Exchange over palm strikes, a Tony Nese original. Garza finally takes the pants off, and then super kicks Tony Nese's gums out. And then following that, we get sit down in the rope grab. No, you're not winning like that. You're not getting one over on her. Anyway, Garza, he elevates Nese to the outside, and then we get a moonsault. However, towards the end, the champ, he does win, of course, with his wing clipper into a Northern Light suplex into a submission, but not quite. Tony Nese finds out that, and he, of course, pulls off the Frostberry Flop. I need to find out the origin of that name of that move, because when I first saw that move in the NXT UK Championship Tournament, inaugural tournament, I was like, what the hell is this? Frostberry?
Yeah.
I got to find the origin of that move. And then anyway, a moonsault, though, into Nese allows Angel Garza to get the wing clipper for the win. So once again, Tony Nese, and I feel like as far as these two go, the rivalry and in-ring bouts are done for now. On the losing end. So here's my thing. Tony Nese has been like flipping a coin. He's this way, then he's that way. He's this way, then he's that way. Now he's on the losing end again, but he's on his own. He keeps trying to prove why he's a premier athlete. Yes, we get it. You have an amazing body, but if you're not picking up wins, what good is your body? It's like, okay, you're amazing promo, but if you can't back it up in the ring, what good is your voice besides being a manager, all right? And this is one of the gripes I had for the longest time with someone I was very fond of, Samoa Joe, but I digress. Anyway, I thought it was a really good match. Angel Garza, of course, he's the champ, newly crowned champ. It's his first time coming to 205 Live. You're not going to have him lose. But in my opinion, you could have at least played it off like, I don't know, a freaking DQ. Tony Nese got so frustrated, he could have pulled out a candlestick or a chair or something, and then you could have really made this bout go towards its finality with 205 Live does best in storylines, but I digress. And that was the end of that week's episode. As we now move on into yesterday's episode, now I'm back to normal, and Ford Center. Commentary this week was in English and Byron, yes, he still does commentary. Tom Phillips, of course, preparing for NXT UK TakeOver Blackpool 2. I miss Vic Joseph and Nigel McGuinness as a duo already. Anyway, we start off with what they do now instead of Drake Maverick rooking of us in because, free agent on SmackDown, blah, 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 blah. They do a little recap video of what happened last week, and then they talk about, with this question, what do they got in store for us in 2020? What does the Cruiserweights and 205 Live have in store? And then we go in, they welcome us in, and then they basically run down the card. It is Swerve versus Leo Rush. And I was looking very forward to this match. And then the main event, Pretty finally officially makes his in-ring debut on what they simply call the Purple brand, which makes a lot of sense. because as you know now, Fandango is injured again. Damn.
Mm-hmm.
Dude can't catch a break.
No.
And basically, we go right into our first match. Swerve and Lio Rush, it seems like these two, it's like a mutual, respectable bout. They're both exchanging each other, speed for speed, move for move, to meet each other in the ring, like, I see what you bring. And as we're about to see what else these guys bring, oh, Lord. Singh brothers, and apparently someone has to be the bully guy, so Byron tries to be it. Thank you, Aiden, for shutting that down. And I guess they were trying to shoot a movie, per se, but Leo was like, hey, I don't care. I don't know what you two dingbats are doing, but why don't you get in the ring and take us on in a tag match, and we'll really give you something. And like, no, we're not here to wrestle. The fuck you aren't here to wrestle. You're on 205 Live. You're not Cinder Mahal's freaking dummies anymore. Okay? And then basically, apparently, Drake Maverick, who I guess still works with the brand or is under the brand as GM, he basically says remotely that this is now going to be a tag team match. And I thought it was a pretty fair tag team opener, but there wasn't much to take away besides the friggin' slap that one of the Singh brothers, I can never get their names right, gave Lio Rush that turned Leo into a frenzy, only to get caught. And then following that, the Singh brothers, they mostly controlled the match until Isaiah Swerve Scott got the hot tag. A couple of tag team maneuvers later, house call, bam! And Isaiah Swerve Scott, he picked up the win for his team. Lio Rush Swerve, like, hey, that was fun, but I ain't done with you yet. So I noticed two things here. One, I hope to see a feud between Isaiah Swerve Scott and Lio Rush to contend for the Cruiserweight Championship. And two, I wouldn't mind seeing these two as a tag team. But with that being said, Chris, your thoughts on this opening match, what it became, and what you think should be next for Isaiah Swerve Scott and Lio Rush.
I felt like we could have gotten almost a 5-star match out of Lio Rush and Isaiah Swerve Scott. I thought they could have put on an incredible performance and been very entertaining with the Singh brothers coming out. I was like, what is going on? And it kind of was one of those things to me. It was like reminiscent of like SmackDown used to do when Teddy Long was the GM. Every time somebody would come down and do something, try to interfere in a match, and it'd be like, well, at least it wasn't a 6-man tag. It wasn't like, holla, a 6-man tag, baby. That's what we always got.
I missed that guy.
But then it became a tag match, and it was pretty much the showcase of, we're going to beat the crap out of the Singh brothers, and that's pretty much what it came down to, and then to show respect. But come on, I don't want to see that. I really don't. Leave the Singh brothers back there. These two could have had a good 15 to 30-minute match and tore the house down. And instead, we got the Singh brothers coming out there being them.
Yeah.
I was really disappointed in that. I mean, I like to see a great match. I want it to be on the 205 Live brand. I wouldn't mind seeing it on NXT, but I'd like to see it on 205 Live, too.
Completely agree. And also keep in mind, this was once again another battle of the OGs versus the newcomers. Because believe it or not, the Singh brothers, they are OG because they were involved on the very first episode of 205 Live. And they won. But I digress. I mean, the way I see it is this. Singh brothers, okay, they're showing off more showcase than ever, character development and naming action. They are pretty good as a tag team, but the volley stuff's getting a little ridiculous with the Singh camera and all that nonsense. And as far as Isaiah Swerve Scott goes and Lio Rush goes, these two could definitely carry 205 Live into the stratosphere per se. But you're right, it seems like more so those two, they showcase them more on the NXT side. I get it, you're trying to bring NXT and 205 Live under the same umbrella. Then book it from Full Sail. And again, I'll talk more about that later. But I digress. I thought it was still a pretty good opener. Then following that, we get basically a highlight for the latest newcomer, and I guess you could say addition to the purple brand. Tyler Breeze. They showcase some of his moments from his return and his match against Velveteen Dream at Takeover 25. And even before then, when he was all about, don't touch me! And of course, duking it out in incredible matches for the NXT Championship with his partner Fandango, and heck, even his time on the other rosters when he was like a VIP type guy with, I think, Summer Rae for a while, and Dolph Ziggler was his rival there. And they talk about how much he's going to bring to the brand as well, and they're very excited. Then following that, we get enhancement. We get logo jobber Jeff Brooks versus Ari Daivari. The story here was definitely not the match. It was about basically what Ari Daivari and Lee Brian Kimbrick are trying to bring through to the Cruiserweight division or 205 Live. do something, as he challenged this young boy to do something. Oh, he did one thing all right, and then he got freaking Hammerlock lured in the next week for the win.
Mm-hmm.
But Artabar wasn't done there, as he says, we're not done here. I told you to do something, and I'm going to show you what I mean. Whack! Another Hammerlock lariat. That was it. I'm sure that guy is still seeing stars. No D. Brian Kendrick in sight at all, though. But it would not surprise me one bit if these two form some sort of tag team duo and goes after, per se, people they claim are not professional wrestlers, just wrestlers. Because now it seems like that's what Artabar and D. Brian Kendrick are both going to stand for. So, before I move on, Chris, do you have any further thoughts on Ari Daivari and his so-called do something showcase?
I'm interested in it only because of the fact I want to see who he's going to face next with it. I think, like I said, I praised Daivari many a times as being one of the top 3 heels in the main roster, NXT, whatnot. He's one of my top 3 favorite heels of wrestling. He does amazing work. I want to see what his storyline is building up to. I would love to see him and Angel Garza tear the house down. I think with Daivari's skill as a heel, how he can get the crowd against him, all his storytelling that he does, and Angel Garza and that eccentric personality, that energy, that wrestling ability, I think those two could have a match that would definitely be takeover worthy if they put them both together. I'm hoping they're building Daivari up to face Angel Garza at some point.
Yeah, only time will tell. All right, now let's go ahead and talk about one of the only things that Drake Maverick is still keeping an eye on, it seems, as we don't know what's next for this guy. And as far as leadership at 205 Live, if you remember a couple of weeks ago, I believe, they recapped basically the self-destruction of the gentleman Jack Gallagher as he once again ate another loss. And then snapped, per se, to the point that he attacked the GM with a headbutt and got suspended indefinitely. However, it has now been known via Twitter that Drake Maverick's like, I welcome gentleman Jack Gallagher back as long as he's ready to act like a gentleman. So we'll see what happens here as far as him coming back, per se. But then I noticed a lot of fun stuff on 205 Live's Twitter. And Jack Gallagher, he had a number of demands talking about, I'm not acting like a gentleman. You're not even here, per se. But I do have a few demands for 205 Live, including tag team titles. But I digress. And if you all ain't following it, please follow hashtag WeAre205Live at We Are WWE 205 Live on Twitter. It's a great little atmosphere conversation and really is a respectable following on 205 Live and Cruiserweights. I'll put a link to them in the description down below on Twitter. I've been messing around with them in the chat for a little bit on Twitter too. Always seeing who also believes 205 Live matters. But anyway, Chris, your thoughts per se on what do you think the gentleman is going to do next or needs to do next? And do you see this devolving, and I hope not, into Jack Gallagher challenging Drake Maverick?
That's what I think it's going to. Honestly, I think he's going to come back and beat the crap out of Drake Maverick backstage and everything like that, and then they're going to end up setting up a match. Or it's not going to be like Mike Kanellis versus Drake Maverick. It's going to be a completely different and kind of a match, and he's going to beat the crap out of Drake Maverick to the point where Aiden English actually gets out of the announce desk. Because you saw they had that kind of interaction before all this happened, too, and I think Aiden English is going to have to come out to the rescue trying to protect Drake Maverick and put a stop to it, and then they're going to end up having a feud a little bit. Because I don't see them putting the Cruiserweight title on the gentleman anytime in the near future, so he's going to be out of the Cruiserweight title picture, so you got to do something with him. Or he may end up going with the Brian Kendrick because he's a heel right now. I just have a feeling we're going to get a really strong heel stable soon with everything going on with all the OGs and the new people coming in for NXT that are going to 205 Live. I have a strong feeling we're going to get a big faction here soon. And I have a strong feeling that Drew Gulak's going to return and start building up a faction to try to take back 205 Live, and it's going to be like a power struggle. That's what I just have a feeling is going to happen here, the way they're playing it up right now.
All right. Well, I think that's rather fair. And again, to officially note the tweet Drake Maverick said, and I quote, Several weeks ago, gentleman Jack Gallagher laid his hands on me, and I was forced to internally suspend him. That suspension has now been lifted. He is now free to return to 205 Live if and when he is ready to act like a gentleman again. So I guess the question at this point is, when is gentleman Jack Gallagher going to return? Will there be a confrontation with Drake Maverick? And is there maybe a hostile takeover coming into play for 205 Live? Again, I feel like there's a lot of internal stories and wars going on with the brand itself. Not only with the OGs versus the new breed, as you put it, but apparently with authority. It's almost like turning into another roster storyline per se. Which could play to its strength? I don't know. It's still too soon to say. Considering last year, what did they start with? A single-man elimination tournament to crown a no-one contender for the Cruiserweight title. There's been nothing said about that yet, but I get it. We are 2 weeks in, and we still are shaping the 205 Live brand, especially now that it's under NXT. Allegedly.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that brings us to our main event, once again, about the OG versus the newcomer. In Tyler Breeze's in-ring debut on 205 Live, he takes on the premier athlete, Tony Nese. For what I saw, I thought it was a very nice, well-paced match. Tyler Breeze, he didn't seem rather, brash or egotistic during this. I mean, I didn't even hear him go, "Don't touch me." And then Tony Nese is basically trying to exemplify the point, you don't belong here. You don't belong here. But what really caught me by surprise is how, once again, Tony Nese lost. It wasn't by, the beauty shot. It was the most dangerous move in professional wrestling. A roll-up. So with that being said, before we talk about our conclusions of this week's episode and what we think might be next and go into some simple stances, Chris, your thoughts on Tyler Breeze's 205 Live in-ring debut?
Liked it. I think Tyler Breeze is a perfect fit for 205 Live, especially since he can't tag with Fandango right now because he's injured again. Mm-hmm. Hope he recovers real soon. Like I said, he just can't catch a break. But Tyler Breeze in the 205 Live division I think is a great addition to him. I think he's got the charisma, the personality. He's got the work rate, definitely. If you haven't ever seen him in a cruiserweight style match, watch Takeover. Him, Jushin Thunder Liger, they're your best example of a cruiserweight match and its best. Tyler Breeze can perform as a cruiserweight, and he can damn sure entertain everybody. So I can see him being a future cruiserweight champion, especially being under the NXT brand now. I can see him setting him up, maybe not right this moment, but somewhere down the line or maybe closer to a year, he could challenge for the cruiserweight championship.
All right, fair enough. So with that being said, as part of our double feature, we usually talk about, what we rank 205 Live, but usually we do that for a single episode. I want to take a different direction this year, as it really looks like this brand's taking a different direction. You and I proposed a number of things, so let's just go ahead and talk about that as part of our simple stances. Let's start with the following. Management. We now know that Drake Maverick is allegedly signed to SmackDown, but he's not in ring right now. He's not feuding with Elias. He's not going after a girl. They haven't even put him together with EC3. It's probably the most notable thing of EC3's WWE career. But the fact is this. Apparently, he is still the G5 Live, yet he hasn't shown up. I look at this group on Twitter, and they talk about how, why is Drake Maverick still the GM? It's like he doesn't even care about the brand or he's in part of it anymore, since, he's part of SmackDown, he's in and out of character, he's going to 24/7, blah, 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 blah. So why don't we get a change in management, per se? Now, you're talking about Gentleman Jack Gallagher apparently coming back, maybe confronting him and leading towards a match of him versus Drake one-on-one. So I guess I'll pose this to you. Do you believe that Gentleman Jack Gallagher could be the next GM of 205 Live? And if not him, who?
No, he's got too much. He got too much offer in the ring for him to play the role as a general manager. I think a general manager is somebody who is not able, like Drake Maverick. And don't take me wrong, as Rockstar Spud in TNA Impact, he was having some great matches. He had a great match with Kurt Angle for the world title. He won the X Division title. The man can go. Don't take this as any disrespect towards his wrestling ability, but He's only had one match on the 205 Live brand, and that was only based on storyline purposes with him and Mike Kanellis. Mm-hmm. If he was wrestling more consistently, then I would say, I'd rather see him wrestle more. But the gentleman, Jack Gallagher, he has more to offer in the ring. He is a damn good wrestler. He's one of my favorites, at least easily in my top 10. He's one of my favorites. and I don't see him doing that role. Now, who do I see actually taking over that role if it's not Drake Maverick? Aiden English. I think Aiden English would be an interesting general manager because he's one of those ones that he can wrestle. He can wrestle. And so people might not be as intimidated by him like of a heel like DeBar. He'd be like, oh, you're not going to tell me what to do. And he'd be like, okay, what's up? I mean, to me, it's like, the man can wrestle. And like I said, I would like that dynamic. I think Aiden English would be a good choice. If Maria wasn't pregnant right now, I would say put Maria in that role. That would be really interesting dynamic because she loves the brand. But with the situation with Mike Kanellis and not being sure what he's doing at this moment, we still haven't seen him be released or anything like that. I just want to see something different. So I would go with Aiden English. But if Maria wasn't pregnant, I would have put her first.
All right, I think that's fair. It would also be a nice way to bring back Mike Kanellis to the brand because we don't know what he's up to. There's been rumor has it that he may want to get out per se, but who knows at this point. And I do respect everything Drake Maverick did to raise the brand per se because ever since he's become GM, we've had incredible stories, incredible matches, and incredible ideas leading towards even more amazing Cruiserweight Championship matches overall. But as far as him being a GM goes, if he really is going to be more like MIA or behind the scenes per se, I just don't know anymore if he should be GM. And if Jack Gallagher really does want to confront Drake Maverick about maybe his, manager status per se or calling him out not to be a gentleman, I could definitely see that playing an effect somehow. And yes, Jack Gallagher, he offers a lot to the ring, but also, again, it's one of those things. He's OG, but he's had a lot more losses than wins lately. It seems like the new breed, even one-offs per se, have had better runs and showcases than a lot of the OGs on 205 Live, and there's very few OGs left. You literally got Tony Nese, Jack Gallagher, The Brian Kendrick, Ari Daivari, and the Singh brothers, I believe, and that's it. Everybody else is a newcomer from NXT or NXT UK, and a couple of them are MIA. We don't know what Mike Kanellis is doing next, and we don't know what Oli Burch is going to do next, and you had a tirade on that. So with that being said, I'm going to go move on to this. So we talk about how it seems to be OG versus the new breed, and the new breed is, no pun intended, taking over. The next takeover for NXT is NXT TakeOver Portland. What a weird city, though, to pick. I'm just saying. Anyway, I ain't read. Anyway, that's going to be in February. We have no idea if they're going to do another, pre-show match with maybe the Cruiserweights per se, or if they're going to do a Cruiserweight Championship match. So, basically, I've already looked at Twitter. Leo Rush wants his belt back. And Angel Garza's just watching from a smile, seeing who will be next to prove why they should challenge him for the title. So I guess my next question to you is this. Do you believe that the NXT Cruiserweight Championship should be defended on Portland? And if so, what would be your ideal match?
Angel Garza versus Drew Gulak. I think Drew Gulak needs to come back. They're doing nothing with him on SmackDown. That would be my wishful thinking. Drew Gulak. Who else would I want to see him? I want to see him. I'm trying to think of people that are heels because Angel Garza is playing more of the face role. If he wants to play more of the heel role than like he has done in the past, I would say Isaiah Swerve Scott. Because like I said, I do like the fact that they don't do the automatic rematches per se. I would like Leo Rush and Isaiah Swerve Scott, the next matchup they have, to have a number one contendership match. Let Isaiah Swerve Scott win that match. Let him challenge for the Cruiserweight Championship. What else could they do? I would like to see maybe if they built up the gentleman returning and let him get some wins under his belt. Let him have this new persona, be a badass heel. Let him just take over 205 Live for a little bit and build it up and have him face Angel Garza. That would be interesting dynamic. But I'm saying more right now, if I want to see a takeover, I don't want to see Leo Rush. I've seen that enough right now. I want Leo Rush to be built back up a little bit. I want to see something new, so I'll say Isaiah Swerve Scott.
Okay. I'm honestly curious to see what might be next for the latest comer to 205 Live before Prince Pretty, Walking Wild. Walking Wild, he had a nice debut, but he hasn't really challenged a real 205 Live Cruiserweight per se. However, he did have a very nice match against latest up-and-comer in NXT, Austin Theory. So
Yep.
I can also see maybe those two coming into play towards the cruiserweight title picture. And you're right, Angel Garza, he almost exhibits kind of like an Eddie Guerrero type effect to him. He's not really heel, he's not really face. He'll lie, he'll cheat, he might steal, but he's a cocky, brash cruiserweight champion. But he loves to wrestle. So that's just a couple of my thoughts. And I would love to see the title involved on NXT TakeOver Portland as long as you have an ideal feud built. I would love to see Drew Gulak back on 205 Live, without a doubt, but there's no doubt in my mind he's stuck on SmackDown, just like the Lucha House Party. But hey, maybe one day I'll get to see slide 327 of one of his PowerPoints. Good Lord Almighty. Just put him in the Intercontinental Championship picture. Make that title matter again, where it used to be the workhorse title. I don't care about Braun Strowman for Shinsuke Nakamura. Braun doesn't need the damn title. And it's about the only thing that makes Shinsuke relevant. You're wasting talent, and you're making me care less and less about workhorse titles. Kevin Owens was right. The NXT Championship is more valuable and important nowadays than both the United States Intercontinental title. And that's sad to say, but I digress. Yep. Anyway, all right. So there's just one more thing on my mind. You talk about the battle of OG versus the new breed, so I'm just going to put it to you straight. Do you literally see them building somehow towards that type of idea, like you said, a 4-on-4, a 3-on-3, or a blah, 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 blah? And do you see it possibly happening as a filler on WrestleMania?
Nope, I see it happening at Worlds Collide.
Really?
They need to. They have 3 matches set right now. They could easily make another match between the 205 Live stars and NXT. You put the OGs versus the originals and build a 4-on-4 match and have them wrestle there, where people would appreciate that match at a Worlds Collide event more than they would if you put it at WrestleMania. I would do it at Worlds Collide. You would have, because you still have, like 3 to 4 weeks to build up, if I remember right. There's time to still build up some kind of storyline here. Or they could just say, the Bari and Tony Nese could say they've had enough of everything going on. You could bring the Brian Kendrick saying, I'm a professional wrestler. I'm done with it too. And then you could say Tony Nese, they'd be like, well, we need somebody else, and they can either add the gentleman Jack Gallagher if they want to, that'd be a 4th, or if they want to play up the storyline, how to re-debut Drew Gulak, Tony Nese like, I know a guy we can get that would help us with this cause, and then they could get Drew Gulak to make a surprise appearance as the 4th man. And then with the new people, like I said, they use Isaiah Swerve Scott, use Leo Rush, use Angel Garza, which would be an interesting dynamic, because then you got Angel Garza and Leo Rush who are not getting along with each other. That would be an interesting dynamic. And then you could add somebody there too. You could bring somebody in for one time. Who would I put in there? No, you put Tyler Breeze in there. You'd be a 4-on-4 match because he's just debuted too, and Tony Nese has lost to him as well. So you do a 4-on-4 matchup that way. You do it at Worlds Collide, where they're real fans that love cruiserweight wrestling, and the NXT stars can actually appreciate a match like that. You do it at WrestleMania. Some fans love 205 Live. Some people don't like 205 Live. Some people love cruiserweight, hate cruiserweight wrestling. On the main roster, that's fine. That's your cup of tea. If you like it, great. If you don't, oh well. But I think Worlds Collide's the better option for them. Or if they don't do it there, they do it at a next takeover. They could do NXT stars versus the 205 Live stars, because they're all under the same umbrella. They could do it if they need more time to build up, do it at takeover, 4-on-4 match.
Yeah, I definitely would like to see that there, because I'm just thinking about almost it's like a retcon of WrestleMania 23. And yeah, the ECW, they got their big moment. They were on the main stage of WrestleMania during the main card for 7 damn minutes. And yes, the ECW originals, they beat the new breed. But I feel like with nowadays, the scope and the idea of WrestleMania, that would literally be like a drop in the bucket for them. And it'd be like, no. That'd be like a match people sleep, go get popcorn and that. It's like, they wouldn't care about that. But I do like what Jack Gallagher says here. Cruiserweight Tag Team titles is one of his demands. If you all followed the gentleman Jack Gallagher on Twitter, he's one of the fun ones to follow on Twitter. He wrote a list of demands, it looks like, for 205 Live, and one of them is what you and I have been asking for, freaking Cruiserweight Tag Team titles, and I could definitely see that, because I think one of the other things about 205 Live, you just have everybody going for one title. They need to go after someone else or need someone else. If you're not going to bring Cruiserweight Tag Team titles, have them build some impromptu teams to go after the NXT tag titles, because in the Undisputed Era, they're leading, but they need more competition, and I wouldn't call Forgotten Sons competition, okay? I'm just saying. And then you got these couple of impromptu tag teams, but how long are they going to last? Yes, I am super excited for the Time Splitters, former Ring of Honor tag team champions, I might add, with Alex Shelley and Kushida. Hell, those two right there would be a major upgrade with 205 Live. But I digress. All right, so I've covered a few things that are on my mind, thinking about 205 Live right now and what I could see happening, what I think might happen, what I should happen, and theorizing what we think should happen. But Chris, is there anything on your mind you want to further discuss about this brand?
Yep, I actually have a couple interesting things that have been going through my brain the last couple of days about this brand.
All right.
So, like I said, we know Jushin Thunder Liger has officially retired, right?
Yes.
We know he did it, officially retired with New Japan Pro Wrestling. So, with that being said, along with the fact that we don't know about the Bill and Marty Scurll, his situation, his status with everything going on in wrestling, he has not yet signed a deal with Ring of Honor currently, right now, at this time of this recording. What would be your ideas of putting I'm going to start with my first question, and then I'll go to my second one. My first one is, should Jushin Thunder Liger go into the WWE Hall of Fame this year for all the contributions he's done in cruiserweight wrestling, even though he has not only the one NXT match, but he's never been on the main roster? Should he be inducted into the Hall of Fame this year for all the work he did for WCW/NWA?
Absolutely, no question. I get it. You're going off nostalgia with the NWO and the impact they made with WCW, and then the cult following they had, and the other type of factions that try to follow that example. And I understand Batista and everything he's given to the industry and stuff like that. But I also know you now do like 10 other special inaugural Hall of Famers that nobody knows 2 cents about, per se. No disrespect to them. But everybody knows who Jushin Thunder Liger is, because whether you've been to Ring of Honor, to Impact, to TNA, to WWE, to WCW, to Japan, to something else in between, you've seen or heard the name Jushin Thunder Liger some damn point in your life. You're a fucking wrestling fan, no matter how old you are. So yes, I absolutely believe that Jushin Thunder Liger should go into the Hall of Fame, and I would love to see Rey Mysterio induct him. Simple as that.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think, that, like I said, I know people have said, I know even the Solid Monster, shout out to him, Solid Sound Off, I know he's even brought up a good point, too. I know the name doesn't, to the main roster, a lot of people who don't know who he is, that name doesn't sound sexy or whatever it's called, but this man has had such an incredible career everywhere in the world. They have honored people from Japan. Antonio Inoki, wasn't Antonio Inoki they put in the Hall of Fame, who never really appeared in the WWE, WF ring?
Yes, that is correct.
So, therefore, they could do it again with Jushin Thunder Liger. They worked out a deal with him to come to TakeOver as a one-time special event. They can do it again, put him in the Hall of Fame. I think he deserves to have his career honored for all the fans in the U.S. that watched him throughout his career on and off coming into the United States to wrestle. I think that would be a great opportunity to have, even if he doesn't wrestle a match in WWE ever on the main stage or WrestleMania, I think he deserves the right to be honored for everything he did in wrestling as a cruiserweight. He's by far one of the, if not the best, either number 1 or number 2 best cruiserweight wrestler of all time.
No doubt. All right. What else is on your mind?
So now with this whole situation with the Bill and Marty Scurll here, he hasn't signed a Ring of Honor contract or anything like that. We don't know what his status is. He hasn't officially signed anywhere. What is the likelihood do you see of WWE putting a bid in to try to get him either appear and have him appear on the NXT/205 Live brand?
It's weird that you say that, considering that I think like his fiance or girlfriend per se, Deonna Purrazzo, is under WWE, but she right now is even wrestling NXT. They have her pushing right now wrestling under Monday Night Raw against the Queen herself, Charlotte Flair. But it looks like they're doing some of Chelsea Green in NXT. And here I thought they were going to do maybe the Team CD in NXT. They might still do it. It just might be led by Robert Stone, the Robert Stone brand. But as far as WWE going after Marty Scurll, with the amount of name power he has, I could see them going after him more for, honestly, NXT UK. I feel like they would think he'd be a great fit there as a villain, per se, and maybe building something there. But something about Marty Scurll and WWE, it just doesn't look like it would click for me. But we all know WWE, they're all about sweeping up other talent to prevent them from going to certain competition, AEW. But I can definitely see WWE being involved. Marty Scurll, at least after hard times, if they don't pull the trigger and do Marty Scurll versus Nick Aldis for the NWA 10 pounds of gold. I could see WWE maybe with a 25% chance going after Marty Scurll post-February.
Yeah, that's still a possibility, and nobody's even talking about that, too. I know I did a little holiday opinion about it earlier, but I didn't even bring up that possibility about him, even possibility WWE even going after him and signing him. But that's a good point, too. If you put him on NXT UK brand, that would be interesting because maybe he can make an appearance, something to what Walter did last year at the end of Blackpool, NXT UK TakeOver Blackpool, except this time it's the Bill and Marty Scurll making an appearance.
Right, but I feel as much as I would love to see a face-to-face confrontation with Marty Scurll and Walter, I just don't see that happening. I honestly see right now Marty Scurll focusing more on NWA power, and I feel like Jordan Devlin, just going to spoil right now, I feel like Jordan Devlin is going to go face-to-face with Walter post his match at NXT UK TakeOver Blackpool 2. But that's just my opinion. But yeah, I don't see WWE going after Marty Scurll at least till after January, February, because right now the only focus with WWE is WrestleMania. And they don't even know what they're doing with that yet. But I pray to God that botched fake leak of that card, you all know what I'm talking about, is not an idea of things to come, because that card looked like it would fucking suck. I digress. All right.
Now I got one more for you. One more for you to close it out.
All right.
All right. Who do you think in NXT UK will ever win the NXT Cruiserweight Championship?
I look at Tyler Bate, big, strong boy, and he's done everything. But honestly, I can see him just going to NXT to a Pete Dunne level. Because Pete Dunne, who literally is 205 pounds, he's not even going after Angel Garza yet. So as far as keeping it simple and who I could see in NXT UK going after the Cruiserweight title, bring him back. I say Noah Dar.
That's a simple answer there. I was actually going to go with the Tyler Bate theory here, because if you're not going to put him in the UK title picture right now after his loss at TakeOver Cardiff, because he's out of it right now. Yeah, I wanted to see him do something a little different. Like I said, he's appeared on 205 Live before. We all remember that. We talked about that. It was one of my picks on my top 25 list from last year. So we did. So I would like to see Tyler Bate do it, just because it would give him something different to do and it'd be something dynamic. Because, like I said, he is actually at 205, and he looks jacked to the gills for his size. And he is, like I said, big, strong boy. That's an understatement.
So is Pete Dunne. He's literally 205 pounds.
Yeah, but we already know he had a champion versus champion match one time when he was a UK champion against the person we will not mention on this show. So,
oh God. Yeah, I'm well aware. And then another thing I was just thinking about, and this is a flaw also, but this could also help with 205 Live. You're not going to bring another title to 205 Live. Have them go challenge for another title. Have them go challenge maybe for the North American title. Make that like a Never-Weight Championship. Or for the love of God, there's too large of a mid-card picture, in my opinion, and the NXT UK. Give them a mid-card title.
Yeah.
And have the cruiserweights go after that. You know, even if they are like twice a year, maybe over there, you still have cruiserweights like Danny Burch, for example, international flavor, going after other titles per se. I feel like there could be more merging with 205 Live with not only NXT, but NXT UK. Maybe that's just a long-term idea for Triple H in the long run, but I really would like to see that. And then if one thing could happen this year, I want one of two things, and I'm just going to ask you, which one would you prefer? A Cruiserweight pay-per-view special or another Cruiserweight classic?
Cruiserweight pay-per-view special, because of the fact they can showcase the Cruiserweight history from past and present, and you could have the ideas and scenarios like I pitched for in the past, a Rey Mysterio final match come full circle. You could have maybe an appearance of Jushin Thunder Liger, Ultimate Dragon, aka Ultimo Dragon, Juventud Guerrera, Psychosis. You could have all these greats make an appearance, to Jerry, who was a Cruiserweight champion, Sean Waltman, who was a Cruiserweight and light heavyweight champion. You can come up with different people. And you also can invite stars from New Japan, like I said, like Jushin Thunder Liger and other greats, because they already have Kushida. He was a 6-time Light WGP Junior Heavyweight champion. You already have Kushida there.
Yep.
And you could showcase stars from the past and present, from all different promotions, from all different heritage, like Mexico, Japan, the United States. You can show everybody, and you can even get stars from Canada, all over the world, to showcase under one night, past and present, the history of cruiserweight wrestling.
I wouldn't mind seeing David Starr personally in that, Mr. Independent himself, the product, or ELP, or heck, El Desperado per se. They had Kota Ibushi, who was a top tier favorite in the first one, and he didn't. You could bring back TJP maybe for one off. Maybe get past the pay nets, try and bring business together per se, and have some fun and just really go all out here. I mean, heck, freaking saw what the Mae Young Classic led to, and now they got Mercedes Martinez, and who knows if they'll get her. But I digress. But
yeah, you could have people like Will Ospreay show up for a one-night-only appearance. Like I said, you have
competes in a ring under WWE. Oh my God! With all the trash talking and everything that the so-called top stars of WWE have thrown at him, how about that hot shit? But
or Zack Sabre Jr.
Well, yeah, I mean, but we all know Zack Sabre Jr. He's right now British heavyweight champion, but yeah, we'll see what happens there. All right, so usually we do match we recommend, but we did that last year. So more so, we're just going to try and see if we can figure out what may happen next week. So, Chris, what do you think is going to happen next week on 205 Live? Or if you were booking the episode, what would be your, como se dice, two top matches be? Because usually 205 Live has two matches, or three matches, one of them being enhancement. If we were going to figure out what 205 Live is going to be next week, what do you see happening?
Rebook the match we didn't get from this week. You do Leo Rush versus Isaiah Swerve Scott, #1 contendership match for the main event. And then the opening match, you could do something. Oh, Lord, you put me on the spot on that one. What would I do? Let's go Tyler Breeze versus Daivari. Like I said, let's have Tyler Breeze keep showing up. Like I said, make another appearance, an opening match. Let him wrestle the Daivari, and let's see how he does with the original versus the new school. Let's see how they do with that match. Daivari can play the great heel like I always tell everybody. And Tyler Breeze, after that big win he did get over a former Cruiserweight champion, he's got momentum. Let's keep building on that momentum. And then after that match, you could possibly set up Brian Kendrick to make another appearance talking about that he is a professional wrestler. Because Tyler Breeze looks like somebody that the Brian Kendrick would not particularly care for and want to feud with, because he's not his style of wrestling. He is not truly a professional wrestler.
It surprised me they haven't tried to put Monsieur on 205 Live. Ever since he beat the Brian Kendrick, you haven't seen him since, but I digress. I like that, but here's what I think is going to happen. I think, honestly, next week they're going to do the Brian Kendrick versus Danny Burch after what he did last week. And then as far as Isaiah Swerve Scott and Leo Rush goes, their focus is going to be going after the Cruiserweight champion, so I could see them playing out more on NXT. I don't think they're going to push for that one-on-one yet, but I do want to see that. And then I feel like the Sing Bars, they're going to come back out. They're going to do the Bale thing. Going to remind them why they're the best tag team. They're going to squash enhancement talent. And as far as Arya Daivari goes, I could see him probably going after, well, there's a thing right there. I could see him actually facing Walking Water one-on-one. So, in my opinion, I think next week I would put Walking Wild versus Arya Daivari as your opener, continue the whole do something campaign, and furthering this idea of Brian Kendrick and Arya Daivari on the same page. Maybe get a tease of the gentleman. He's going to come back, per se, but he's going to do an Instagram video type thing, promo. They're going to have Singers come out. They're going to gloat. They're going to be like, we want a rematch. Bully. They're going to squash somebody. And then I think your closer is going to be Danny Burch versus Brian Kendrick. But I hope, and this is just me fantasy booking, afterwards you finally bring back Only Lorcan, and you develop a tag team match between the 1-2 connection and Arya Daivari and Brian Kendrick, and see how long that feud goes. But that would just be me. But again, as always, we're just going to have to wait and see whether we review it just right after next week or do another double feature, because we're only talking about next week. But I digress. But with that being said, we are officially done here with the first episode of 205 Live Matters for 2020. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in. And anything you want us to discuss, any questions you might have, speculations, please let us know in the comments down below. Greatly appreciate your feedback. Your opinions matter. With that being said, My friend, always a pleasure. Here we go again, another year. Let's see what the cruiserweights bring.
Yep.
Anything you want to plug, and where can people find you?
You could find me on my YouTube channel, The Holiday Christopher Mace. I have 129 subscribers. Very humbled and honored by that. It seems like it continues to grow gradually, slow growth, but hey, I'd rather have people enjoy the video, watch the videos, like, dislike, leave comments, tell me what's going on with everything, what's your opinions on everything. Follow me on Facebook, Christopher Mace, Instagram, Christopher Mace, Twitter, Christopher Mace. You can support all the members of the NX team. You can go to my wrestling content list. You'll find all their newest episodes on there, so you can be able to find shows like 205 Live Matters on there. If you have an issue, have a hard time finding his channel, or chopping blocks, or what's NXT parties, rundowns, talk wrestling, you can find it all there, the newest episodes. You can be able to find them all relatively easy, and you can like, share, and subscribe to their videos as well. SportNoDQ.com. And this year, like I said, I'm going to try to recognize at least one YouTube channel that does wrestling that's not part of the NX team. So this week, we give a shout out to Jen Loves Wrestling. She just started her YouTube channel. She had her first video introducing herself to everybody. She's going to do a weekly show. So I think she's got a lot to talk about. She has experience in the independent scene, she said, for 10 years as a manager. So definitely looking forward to hearing what she's got to say about her mindset about things going on in wrestling. So check her channel out. It's called Jen Loves Wrestling. And that's pretty much all I got to say for right now.
All right, simple as that. Again, 2020, we already had a strong kickoff, but hey, the year is still going. I can't wait to see what's next with this guy.
Mm-hmm.
But with that being said, if you want to know more about me, know this. I'm just a simple man. And if you haven't figured it out by now, I am a lifelong fan of wrestling in all of its forms, the good, the bad, the ugly, the glorious, etc. So if you want to talk to me about anything wrestling, the five brands of WWE or Ring of Honor, NWA, Impact, my leader in wrestling, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Stardom, Pro Wrestling Noah, OWE, AEW, Independent Wrestling, Sport Pro Wrestling, folks, I could go on and more. Look me up on Twitter, NoDQ.com/Noah. It takes you to my Twitter page, or at @InFoster1916. Also, follow me on Instagram if you want, #SomeManInLife, at InFoster1916. I'll give you a nice hello and moments I have in wrestling and thoughts I have in wrestling, and I'll, of course, share wrestling based on what I'm excited for, indifferent, etc., including so far has been announced for Royal Rumble. Anyway, also follow my civil YouTube channel here, youtube.com/user/NoahFoster210. At the heart of it, of course, is this series, #205matters. It'll be every week or every other week, depending on our schedule. But everything else on this channel, it's all wrestling. It's like recaps, reviews, predictions, simple takes, discussions, you name it. All nice, neat, organized playlists for you. I just did a video on NXT UK TakeOver Blackpool 2 predictions, and I will be joining Jeff Meacham on the Talk Wrestling Jeff Meacham Network tomorrow podcast, after both NXT UK TakeOver Blackpool 2 and Impact Wrestling's Hard to Kill. I'll do predictions on that. Please feel free to watch those. And stay tuned, of course, for those podcasts and reviews on Anchor and Spotify, I believe, too. And if you haven't figured it out by now, support NoDQ. The reason I got into YouTube. Forever indebted to the NoDQ family, Team NoDQ for life. Thank you, Aaron Briff and company. Buy a shirt. Buy merchandise. Buy a sticker. Buy a mug. Just do it. Support my friends. We would greatly appreciate it. NoDQ.com/merch takes you to the store. Follow NoDQ on all social media platforms. Your opinions matter. There's a comment section and everything. Polls, columns, memes, gifts, reviews, recaps, sexy female pics. You name it, it's there. Primarily wrestling from WWE with a little bit of AEW and independent wrestling as well. Stay tuned, as the next NoDQ review will be live, I believe next week, Thursday at 8 p.m. Join the discussion, and it should be a lot of fun. Congrats on the guys reaching 80 on your road to 100. And as always, I'd like to close. Support your wrestling outlets big and small. Let's keep growing this incredible, diverse, unique, elite, one-of-a-kind wrestling community together. For the better. Simple as that. With that being said, stay tuned for more simple and predictive wrestling and other discussions on this channel. I will definitely be back with NWA Hot Times, led, of course, by the holiday Christopher Mace. And please follow his channel and his weekly review of NWA Power every week. And also, I will be back. We might be with Aftermatch Wrestling. We're going to discuss, of course, WWE Worlds Collide. And also, I will be once again scoring and participating in the Team NoDQ Predictions League as we kick it off with the Royal Rumble. And then come February, we already got our next event for Team NDQ for New Japan Pro Wrestling with the New Beginning in Sapporo and Osaka. And, of course, at the end of that month, AEW Revolution. There's a lot of incredible wrestling coming up and more besides what I just talked about. just in the first 2 months alone. I might also be doing some stuff with a local independent promotion here, Chaos Wrestling, so stay tuned for more of that. And again, support independent wrestling, folks, because that's where it all begins. But with that being said, for the holiday, Christopher Mace, and for me, I'm just your simple man. We are the Simple Holiday. This has been, once again, another episode of Hashtag 205 Live Matters. Take care. Enjoy life. Tomorrow's never guaranteed. Treasure and support your families. Enjoy wrestling. Become a fan. There's someone out there for everybody. Just take a chance. Give 205 Live a chance. And until the next video, enjoy the weekend. If you're watching tomorrow, enjoy NXT UK TakeOver Blackpool 2 and Impact Wrestling's Hard to Kill. And yes, I will be watching both. I hope you all have a good night.
Have a good night, y'all.
And remember, it wouldn't be me doing this series if I never concluded with this. Remember, no matter what, 205 Live, as long as it still is airing, as far as I'm concerned, will always matter.
Indeed.
And Funaki will always be SmackDown's #1. I love that guy. All right, everybody, we're done here. Have a great night. Bye-bye.
Have a good night.